We will go in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. All right, good morning, everyone, and welcome to After Further Review as we recap the Cleveland Browns' wild and woolly game in Dallas yesterday. I'm Dave DeNatale alongside Jay Crawford. 49-38, Jay. The Browns pick up the win. They are 3-1. I hope people, if they haven't had a chance to, will read your column on the win. That was Cleveland Browns football in a nutshell, but it's a great win. And as you put it, a win for the ages yesterday.
Someone tweeted yesterday to me. I had a lot of funny tweets, but my favorite one was, I feel like I just rode every single roller coaster at Cedar Point at one time. That's what that football game felt like. It was crazy, the swing of emotions. I tweeted Dino after the first half, and, this is open for debate. Maybe I'm prisoner of the moment. I don't feel like it's hyperbole. I think the first half was the best half of football played by the Cleveland Browns that I've ever watched, and I've been watching them for 50 years. I can never remember a half where they looked so buttoned up, where they played so well. And that was followed by, and you can debate this forever because we've certainly played some bad football. I think the fourth quarter, if you take out the Denzel and the Odell plays, was the worst quarter of Browns football I've ever seen. And that's saying something. But I can't think of another quarter where we looked as bad as we looked yesterday against the Cowboys in the fourth quarter. I mean, we almost blew a 27-point lead, which is pretty much unthinkable in one quarter. And
in one quarter,
if it wasn't for a couple of big plays, we're scratching our heads this morning trying to figure out what the hell happened.
They're up 40. They got the field goal. They're up 38-14. They get the field goal to go up 41-14. They're up 27. I'm thinking to myself, okay, that means you got to, Dallas would have to score 28 or whatever to win. Okay, that's asking a little too much of any team in one quarter to score 4 touchdowns or what have you, or 3 touchdowns and 2-point conversions and this, that, and the other thing. Okay, I think the Browns have this one pretty securely. It turns out they really need that field goal, and they needed some help from the Dallas Cowboys coaching staff, from Mike McCarthy, to solidify the victory there down the stretch. You and I were talking before we got on. I didn't understand then, and I don't understand now. After you go to a point where it's 41-38. There's more than 3 minutes to go in the game. You've got the 2-minute warning and 1 timeout left, so you can stop the clock twice. Why in the world would you do an onside and a lousy one at that juncture?
It literally was the biggest and worst decision of the game yesterday. Obviously, coaches make hundreds of decisions from 1 o'clock to 4:30. I've played that back in my mind a million times. It wasn't even as if they were trying a recoverable onside kick. That was just a squib kick.
Right.
It only traveled, I think, 23 yards. It went to the 42-yard line, and Hilliard returned it to midfield. They gift wrapped the game for the Browns. They really did. And think about this. Even if at that point they go 3 and out, as had been the pattern for the fourth quarter, even if they go 3 and out, they have an opportunity to pin Dallas at the 1 or 2 yard line with a punt. Mm-hmm. I have no idea why they wouldn't have just stayed to their formula of kicking the ball deep, having the Browns start at the 25. The Browns had proven they had gone to sleep offensively. So let's play it out if they had kicked it into the end zone. Start at 25, 2 yards, 2 yards, 2 yards, 4th and 4. Now the Browns have to punt. There's around 2 minutes to go in the game. There was 3:42 to play when they got the ball. Mm-hmm. I don't know how Dallas would have managed its timeouts, but let's just say there's around 2.5 minutes to go, and they've got the ball at the 33-yard line punting. A good punt puts them at the other 30-yard line. So now Dallas has to go 70 yards. Well, hell, they had proven 3 times in the quarter they could do it as if they were practicing with no defense on the field. So now they only have to go 70 yards in 2 minutes. That's easy for them. They've done it the whole quarter. So literally, I think the decision of the game was kicking the ball the way they did, because not only did it, if you play out the way the scenario could have gone for Dallas with them getting the ball 30-yard line, 70 to go with 2 minutes, now the Browns have it midfield with 3:42 to go, and the entire playbook is wide open.
Right.
You're not going to run that reverse if you're starting from the 25-yard line. You're just not going to do it. Too many things can go wrong. You can fumble the pitch. You can lose 5 or 10 yards, which, by the way, Beckham made a great play because the defender had the beat on him. He just wasn't quick enough to get him, but he had the angle. That play could have been blown up. Now, if you start that on the 25 and it's blown up, now you've got the ball on maybe the 17-yard line. So I just don't get why McCarthy decided to squib kick. I think it was the biggest decision of the game. All of that being said, what we witnessed yesterday, Dino, was we're slowly watching the culture change in real time. Okay. We always talk about culture, and we know what the Browns of the past 6 regimes would have done yesterday. We know that they would have completed the collapse. It would have been a self-fulfilling prophecy. They would have walked off the field with a disappointing loss saying what in the world just happened. What we're witnessing in real time is the Browns learning how to win games that they would have given away in the past. And before you can beat the Colts and the Steelers and the top tier teams, they've got the Colts next, but the Steelers and the Ravens and the top tier teams, you have to prove you can go on the road and beat a team with the number 1 ranked offense in the NFL. And they did that. And so now when they put their pads on and they go out to the practice field this week, it's a whole lot different doing so as a 3-1 team than it would be doing that as a 2-2 team. And so now you can see how this momentum can roll and why the first quarter of the season is so important. Last year, there was a tripwire at the starting gate for this franchise. Yep. They never got their feet underneath them, and it spiraled out of control, and Freddie's gone. This year, they're off to a good start. Now, the schedule had a lot to do with that, but they're 3-1, and you never apologize for that. And now you can feel like, okay, I can see what Stefanski's vision is. He was given all of these high-powered parts, and Freddie was given the same thing. Freddie was thrown the keys to a Ferrari last year, and he just got his learner's permit. And he's like, what do I do with this thing? And he tried to drive it at max speed, and that's how you crash. Stefanski is saying, okay, I got 6 gears to this Ferrari. I got to start in first, and then I got to go to second. You can't go right to sixth like Freddie tried to do. And what Stefanski is doing is he's utilizing all of the players that he has at his disposal. Think of the big play names yesterday: Ward, Beckham, Landry. On defense, it was Myles Garrett.
Yes.
It was Denzel Ward. Baker his numbers aren't going to wow you. In Stefanski's offense, they won't, and they shouldn't, because he's got such great ground pieces. So use what you have. Freddie tried to jam that square peg into the round hole. We're going to be a deep ball team. We're going to be a throw it all over the field, pyrotechnics offense. Well, you can't do that right off the bat. You've got to learn to walk before you run, before you throw. And we're doing that now. And by the way, this run game that we're establishing in the first quarter should change the way we look in the fourth quarter of the season.
Yes.
Because now teams are saying 307 against the Cowboys, load the box and stop the run. Oh, it's going to be fun to watch this offense when defenses try to do that.
Oh, yeah.
So it yesterday was just fantastic. It really was.
It was. And even, I know how I felt when I saw Nick Chubb lying on his back.
Have we heard yet on Chubb?
No.
Any word on his MRI?
Not yet. I mean,
okay,
Kevin Stefanski's gonna brief the media on Zoom in about an hour, so
okay.
We'll obviously
keep your fingers crossed
of that.
Yeah.
But I know I'm sitting there thinking, oh man, they look so good in this offense. What's going to happen? Well, they didn't miss a beat, and it didn't matter if it was Kareem Hunt, who's not 100%, but played very well. If they brought in Johnson, if they brought in Hilliard, the offensive line, continues to dominate in this scheme, and they continue to move and block people.
That's the Callahan effect.
Yeah, the Callahan effect, and Baker Mayfield isn't making mistakes.
Right.
And so, the offense just continued to move the football. It didn't matter that they didn't have their best weapon in there. They still continued to pound through Dallas in the second and third quarter.
Yeah. And, I really think that, so Callahan has the offensive line gelling. By the way, this isn't a mistake. It also kind of drives home the fact that our talent up front, although not world beaters in the past, if they're coached properly, like they are right now, you can make stew out of these pieces. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not filet. It's not, but you can chop this up and you can throw it together and make an eatable stew. And I think what we're seeing here is Callahan is putting his players in position to succeed, not asking them to do too much. And when you are, you're sliding protection help for that player on the line. But all of a sudden, holes are there. Baker has a little more time. By the way, on Baker, this is starting to become a pattern. When he has straight dropbacks, bad things tend to happen. When you move him out of the pocket, good things tend to happen. I wrote about that in my column last week. We have to continue to find ways to get Baker off his mark. I hate when he takes a 5-step straight back drop. Bad things are going down.
He's not comfortable doing that.
Clearly he's not. And yet he's so much more comfortable when you sprint him out or when you bootleg him to the left. We've seen this against Cincinnati when he was on the move. He was his best. Yes. Against Baltimore, when they dropped him straight back, he was a target all day. Now, granted, Baltimore's going to get after you no matter what you do. Mm-hmm. But he was never more mobile than he was against Cincinnati. That was his best game of the year. He did it some against Washington, but not as much as I would have liked. He did it some yesterday, but we're still seeing too many straight dropbacks. And I know you can't do the same thing on every play, and you're going to have to figure out a way to get him to straight drop back and protect him. But it just seems like when he drops straight back and stays between the tackles, the pocket breaks down and he ends up scrambling, sacked, or throwing it away. And in the past, that's when he threw his picks.
Right.
So get him out, get him on the move, get the defense moving in one way and throw it the other way. I was critical of Stefanski for trying the fake punt on the first punt of the season. I still stand by that, by the way. I think it was not a smart decision.
Yeah.
But what we saw from Stefanski yesterday is he's telling defenses the rest of the season, you better not follow the flow because we're going to go against it a time or two. And when you do, it's going to hurt you big. And that's what we saw yesterday. We saw 3 what I would call trick plays. The Jarvis Landry, by the way, he threw the best dart of the day yesterday. I mean,
yeah, absolutely.
He had to crow hop into it, but his ball was tight. It was a clothesline. It probably never got more than 20 or 30 feet above the air. It went 45 yards on the dime. So that seed now is firmly planted in defensive coordinators' heads the rest of the way. Watch that play. So if you're paying attention to that on backside, you're not paying the attention to the front side that you maybe need to. So I think it's brilliant by Stefanski to throw these little gimmick plays out there. We've got the personnel to use them. When you've got this kind of weaponry, you can put that into the playbook. And defensive coordinators are going to spend time every week preparing for the Browns, preparing for misdirection and trick plays. And that just benefits us. That's going to help us down the line because that's less time they can spend preparing for the conventional stuff.
I was very, very happy for Odell Beckham Jr. yesterday with everything that we've talked about. Where's OBJ? Why can't the Browns get him in the offense? This, that, and the other thing. He gets the touchdown from his buddy Jarvis Landry, and he talked about after the game what that meant to him.
Yeah,
but it's obvious, in the fourth quarter as the Browns run that the reverse. Beckham's feeling pretty good, and he turned on that extra afterburner. Like when he got to the 30-yard line and wow, you just sit there and go, that's what I saw in New York. And that was great to see yesterday.
His top end speed on that play was almost 21 miles an hour. So that's the Beckham the Giants had. That's the Beckham that can take lids off defenses. That's the Beckham that can be productive and can be a happy citizen in your clubhouse, in your locker room. And so he's so easy to read. Third quarter, ball's not going his way. Cutaway of him on the sideline. He looks like he's ready to grab his gear and walk. Third quarter, he's got 2 touchdowns. He's feeling himself. He's upbeat. He's joking around. He's patting Baker on the back. Everything is kumbaya. Look, I know that you want your players to be more even keel, but we know what wide receivers are. That's exactly, they think they're open on every play. They want the ball every play. When they're getting it, they're happy. And I think what we saw yesterday was getting him the football is absolutely paramount. If that means you get it to him on a flip reverse, if that means you get it to him on a wide receiver pass, just get him the football. Find that guy's electric. He needs to have the ball in his hands. I loved his route at the goal line where he sort of came off half-heartedly like he was going to, be used as a run blocker.
Right.
He's now just going to block for somebody. And as soon as the defensive back kind of commits that, he's not involved in the play, he puts his foot in the dirt, hard left, cuts right, and he's got the separation that he needs. And Baker puts the ball exactly where it had to be. So, we know what he can do. It's not a fluke. We know what he can do. We have to keep finding a way to get him involved, keep him involved. One point I want to make before we're done. We know that we're all kind of holding our breath on Chubb right now and what that MRI is going to show. I'm a little concerned about Kareem Hunt because we know that he had the groin during the week and he was questionable coming into the game. He ran well. I didn't see any indications that he was hurt. But, with a groin, a lot of times you get that adrenaline rush during the game and a guy's going to push through it. He said afterwards he loves playing football. He's going to play. I was in the critical drives of the game for the Browns in the fourth quarter. He wasn't on the field.
No.
He touched the ball. He had a 2-yard loss with about 3 minutes to go in the third quarter. It led to a Browns punt. He wasn't on the field again until the misdirection to Odell. He was not on the field for the Browns' first drive that I think they got 1 first down on that drive and then 3 and punt. He wasn't on the field for the next drive, 3 and out. He wasn't on the field for the next drive, 3 and out. And now I'm saying, okay, there's probably some method to Stefanski's madness. He doesn't want to risk losing 2 Pro Bowl running backs on the same Sunday. So why risk it? Then when he was in the game, he was just a decoy, but He was a valuable decoy. And you don't have to hurt yourself to do what he did. Just having him in the backfield and taking a step to the left drew enough attention to him that when Beckham comes around on the sweep, there's fewer defenders to handle Beckham because of Hunt's presence in the game. So afterwards, he was asked about the hamstring or the groin. He said, I don't want to talk about it. I'll see you next week. I'm kind of, that has me a little leery about where he is on the groin. So hopefully he comes out of it healthy. I hate to guess on the Chubb thing because initially he looked like he was in a great deal of pain. He was able to walk off without a limp, which was encouraging. But I'm hoping that it's just a strain and it's not a tear because a tear, obviously changes the way our season looks dramatically.
Right. We'll all be kind of just waiting here. I'm with you. It's extremely important for what the Browns and what this image and this identity that they've built as a running team. And no disrespect to Johnson and Hilliard, who both played pretty well yesterday. But I mean, the identity is because of Chubb and Hunt. And
no question.
Yeah, you got to hope that they're healthy. The stars came out, Jay, and you know what? I mean, this was fun. Real quick, just thoughts on the Colts next opponent with Rivers and company. It's going to be a different kind of challenge for the Browns.
Yeah, when I saw that game was a 4:30 start, I thought, wow, that's odd. I mean, it's the Colts and the Browns. It has some regional Midwest appeal, but I really don't feel that being a 4:30 game. Well, now all of a sudden you've got, I believe the Colts are 3-1 too, right?
Yeah.
I mean, this game looks like it could be one of the marquee games on the schedule next week. You can't sleep on anybody. You can't. Phillip Rivers is a Hall of Fame quarterback, most likely a first ballot Hall of Fame quarterback. He's probably top 10 in just about every notable throwing statistic for his career. He can still sling it. We saw yesterday, the guy can still throw it. So what concerns me more than anything, and you're kind of hiding warts with yesterday's win. Okay. That's why I wasn't glad that Dallas came back, but I'll say this, there's a positive in it. If you walk off the field 41-14, you do run the risk of the team starting to feel themselves a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't think that can happen.
Themselves up.
Sure. I mean, you want to feel good about yourselves, but you don't want to get this false sense of security. Dallas has the number one offense in the NFL for a reason.
Yeah.
We miraculously were able to hold them to 14 points through 3 quarters. But we also have to understand that you're as good as your last in baseball inning, in football quarter. And they were all-time awful in that fourth quarter. Now, granted, they were in a prevent defense and Dallas took what we were giving them, but they made it look like it was just stealing. So we know that the Achilles of this team is still the defense.
No question.
The question going into every game from here until week 17 is going to be very simple. Can the offense outshoot what the defense allows? That's going to be the formula. And so if the Colts score 30, we need to score 31.
Right.
But, they're going to score. Teams are going to score against us. But it was fun yesterday to watch us make big plays in big spots. Garrett, again, has a big play switch. Where is it? Oh, here it is. Throws it on, goes down and gets a strip sack when they really need one. Denzel Ward played an unbelievable game. And, he had moments where he was beaten. But what I like about what he did yesterday was he saw the opportunity on that play to step in front of Cooper, and he seals the win with the interception at the goal. Because I'm telling you, Dino, if that ball goes into the end zone for a touchdown, Browns had proven they were incapable of stopping a 2-point conversion. We know what happens. Now it's again 49-46,
right, with
an onside kick coming, and we saw what they did to Atlanta. They were able to recover that helicopter spin. And I was starting to play out in my mind, oh my God, this is going to happen again. They're going to score a touchdown, get the 2-point conversion, recover the onside kick, and not kick a field goal to tie it. That wouldn't be Browns enough. Score a touchdown to win it. But Denzel Ward stepped in front of that ball, made the play at the absolute pinnacle moment of the football game. And that's what you want your first round draft picks to do. Right. Just like Garrett made a play. It was really fun to watch. And it was fun to see the leading role people and their name on the marquee. I mean, if you start listing big plays, all of them came from guys that we were saying last year, this is why we're going to the playoffs, because Hunt and Chubb and Baker and Odell and Jarvis and Garrett and, on and on. These are the guys that stepped up at Jerry World where there were fans and there was noise. It wasn't like you're playing in Baltimore where there's absolutely no noise. There was crowd noise there. I kept seeing Baker in the first and second quarter having to, cover his ear holes because he couldn't get the call in from the sideline. So they must have been making, a pretty good amount of noise. And they were able to overcome all of that and get a huge win on the road and rack up a bunch of more firsts that, things that we haven't seen since the 60s, the 3 straight games of scoring at least 30 plus points. It's for real, man. I mean, I'm not saying that this team is going to win the division and go to the playoffs because I still think we play in the toughest division in football. But I will say with pretty good certainty that I feel like we're going to go into December and we're going to be in the conversation. And that's all you want.
Yep. Yes, give yourself a chance. That's all you want. Jay, we'll look forward to seeing you later on today on What's New at 5 o'clock. And again, at WKYC.com, you can read Jay's thoughts on a win for the ages, the Browns over the Cowboys on Sunday. My friend, it's always a pleasure. Thanks for joining me.
Dino, good to see you. Take care, man.
All right. And thanks to all you for watching After